Hello, Star Citizens, and welcome to another video. This was an unplanned video because I didn't know that they were gonna do an assault on Stanton sale. So let's just hop over and get right to it. Since this was an unplanned video, we're just gonna hop right into it. All right, so this looks like we're just gonna call it the XenoThreat sale. Assault on Stanton sale is too much to say, so we're gonna call it the XenoThreat sale. And yeah, let's see what it's got. Assault on Stanton's got a little video there for you, basically saying thanks for completing the overdrive initiative, and you gotta do these final 2 missions and you'll get a XenoThreat medium armor, and it looks pretty cool. I really want the armors to get a little bit of a better purpose, right? I mean, I get that you run faster based on the level of armor you have. So probably the best armor is medium armor overall, because you're not hampered in how, you can still run a little faster. Heavy armor is when you know that you're just going to be fighting like endurance fighting. If you're doing endurance fighting, you take heavy armor. If you're going in for a few missions and you don't quite know what to expect, then I would say take medium armor. If you know there's going to just be very little fighting, then you take light armor. But I think they definitely need to add more than just the speed at which you run and the damage at which, I think armor could have more capabilities than that. And I think it will. I think there might be some examples of that already. So anyway, continuing on. So I don't know why phase 1 is waiting, but anyway, phase 2 is the resupply. I guess they had to count it because we did wait. But the resupply mission looks like there's going to be some extra large Dynaflex cargo containers. So, I think this would be really good for like an A2 or something like that. C2, M2, those are all going to do really well on that mission. Then you got the main assault, which I'm sure is just going to be fighting in Idris and a few other attack ships. But this is what we're here for. This is what we're here for. We're here for the ships. But before I do that, let me just go down here, because they got some weird packs here, which is the Wolf Pack, which has a Gladius, a Titan, and a Hurricane. None of this stuff has like a bunch of insurance with it. But they got a Warbine for $325, and then it comes with an armor set too, and then they got a credit set, and then they have this big guns, which I think is, yes, an Andromeda Redeemer and a Sentinel. This comes with that that armor, backpack, the sniper rifle, still 24-month insurance, and then they got the same thing if you buy it with credits. I would say it's a no for me. But let's go through these ships. So the Avenger Titan, one of the best starter ships in the game. If you ask me, it's top 5. So, if you're looking for a starter ship and you go with the Titan, I don't think you'll be upset. $60 is about how much you would spend for a AAA game anyway. 60 to $70. So, it's one of the few ships that I can recommend to everyone and not feel bad about how much you're spending on the game. The C1 Spirit is the most, I would probably say, most people should spend on the game. If you're gonna buy a ship and you're gonna put money into this game, I would say the most anybody should be putting into this game is $180 total. So if you're putting more than $180 into this game, you're probably you're opening yourself up to basically being a whale after $180. But I do think there's one other step is people who put $500 into the game, and if you put more than $500, then yeah, you're off the rails already. So you might as well just get whatever you want. But yes, 180 is about the most I would say most people should spend on this game if you're super into it. Whereas $60 to $70, well, I say $90 is probably the average person should spend. But the C1 Spirit is a good ship. It's decently maneuverable, has decent speed on it in a straight line. It can carry cargo. You can do multiple missions with it. I've been able to do up to, I want to say not high risk targets, but whatever the level is below high risk targets. I think it's medium risk targets or something like that. I've been able to do with the C1. So you can do a few bounty missions. Obviously, you can deliver packages and anything. And of course, it has a decent amount of cargo. I think this thing has like 64 SCU of cargo or something like that. So yeah, you can make money, upgrade it fairly quickly. So I like it. The Constellation series is one of the best in the game. However, I'm pretty sure the Constellation series is always available, so this isn't something that you have to buy right now. However, I will say this. I think the Andromeda is kind of going to end up being the best fighter of the bunch. I think that's kind of going to be its purpose, is it's like it's going to, you know, be the one that fights the best. Because the Taurus is specifically aimed at cargo. The Aquila, or Aquila, however you say it, that one's aimed at exploration, and then the Phoenix is aimed at luxury. So I think the Andromeda is going to be the one that ends up being the one that's aimed at combat mostly. But technically it's called a freighter here, medium freight gunship. So I guess it can do a little bit of both. All right. The Eclipse is a no, only because even though it has those size 9 torpedoes, it only has 3 of them. I would rather have like 6 size 8s or 12 size 7s or something like that. Like if that's the way that they work, where you get double the amount every time you go down a size, I think most people would rather have 12 size 7s or 24 size 6s or something like that. And I think if they did that with the Eclipse, made it to where you can take a step down and get way more way more torpedoes, I think that would make this ship massively more popular, especially at $300. I also think people have told me that it has a gun on the front, so I didn't know that when I reviewed it, but I'm glad that it does have a little gun on the front. I would just put, you know, I would put something that does a lot of damage on the front, or that disables ships on the front, because that's really all you need to do just to get these things on target. But I'll say this, I'll say this to anybody who needs a stealth ship, right? If they change the missiles on this thing, the torpedoes on this thing, I would pick this over my Firebird. I would upgrade to this outside of my Firebird. But I need to be able to change those missiles out, because I want 24 size 6 torpedoes, or 48. I don't know how many you can fit in there. I don't know. It's a big ship though, so I feel like I would want a lot of torpedoes. If this thing's whole role is that it's a bomber, I would want that. All right. The F-7C Hornet Mark II, I think it's worth it if you CCU to it. Right now, it's one of the best fighters in the game. It was single-handedly the best fighter in the game about a week ago, but right now they've brought it back down to where it's supposed to be. So it's still one of the best fighters in the game. Obviously, if you did the Overdrive Initiative, which this whole thing is about, then you'll have the F-7A upgrade, which is significantly better. Well, not significantly better. It's slightly better, but it will end up being significantly better, because I think the F-7C is going to get a little bit of a nerf, while as I don't think the F-7A will get the same nerfs as the F-7C. And I think that nerf is going to come around the time that they start making like the Ghost, and the Tracker and all that, the Super Hornet, because you're going to get an F-7C Super Hornet Mark II, so that which will be the 2-seater variant. So yeah, I think this is a great ship to get. I love the blue skin. The other skins it comes with are pretty cool too. But yeah, $175 is a lot for a fighter, so make sure you play the CCU game. Right now I think you could get one for like $125, which is definitely worth $125. So there you have it. The M2, this is a weird one, right? So I think most people who have an M2 should be prepared to get an ironclad assault, unless you specifically need the speed of the M2 and you prefer like the pilot controlled weapons, right? So the M2, I would compare the M2 and the ironclad assault, and I would say for $15 more, you get a lot more with the ironclad assault. However, you do lose pilot controlled weapons. which are size 5 pilot control weapons, which is decent, and you lose that speed and maneuverability of the M2 Hercules. That's what the M2 Hercules has over the Ironclad Assault. However, I still think the Ironclad Assault is the better deal, because I don't think nobody should be running these ships by themselves. And if you run, let's say, if you run each of these ships with the intended, this one with the intended crew and the other one with the intended crew, I think you'll have a better time in the Ironclad Assault, because the M2 Hercules, it does have that pilot control weapon, and then it does have the extra turret, but the amount that you can carry in the other one is just insane. It's what, triple the amount that you can carry in this one? Nearly triple. No, it's like 2.5 times the amount. So it's a lot. So yeah, I think the Ironclad Assault's the better option, unless, again, specifically you need that maneuverability, that speed, and those pilot control weapons. The Reclaimer, excellent ship. Purchase it if you're into salvage, or even if you remotely think you're going to be into salvage, you should get a CCU to it, because it's going to go up in price. And I think the end price for this will probably end up being somewhere between $675 to $750 when it's all said and done, because this thing is going to just print money. And there you have it. That's pretty much all I have to say about it. The Reliant Tana is a no, because this ship needs a rework. It needs like a balance pass, and it needs to update. It needs a few more updates. But I think when it's said and done, it will be a decent fighter. It's just that cross section is crazy. It really looks cool, though. I have to give it to you. Especially that up-down configuration, I think it's really cool looking. So it's one of the earlier ships in the game. I just don't think it's worth $75. I'd pay $60 for it. So if you can get a CCU to it, maybe one, you might be able to get a one or two CCUs to it. Save like $10, $15. If you could save $15 on it, I'd say it's worth $60. So if you get CCU to it, it's worth it right now. Otherwise, I'd wait till it gets its rework. The Retaliator just got a rework. The Retaliator is a cool ship because of its modularity. I think its best version is still to work as a bomber. So I think the Retaliator bomber is the one that you should get if you're going to get this ship. If you're getting it for cargo, I'd still have questions as to why you'd pick this particular ship for cargo. I mean, I would pick one of the cargo modules, and then the rest should be bombs. But yeah, I think unless you're mixing up the modularity, like I would maybe get, I would keep the bombs regardless, and then I would choose between getting either the cargo module to carry a little bit of cargo, or the living quarters, so that I can actually like kind of live on my ship a little bit if I plan on taking this out for long term. But other than that, I wouldn't get the base. If you had the base before, it was really cheap, but the bomber was the same. So I don't know. I'd say the base was worth it earlier, but now I'd say the bomber version is the best. And then, you could always just swap out the containers or the modules. Scorpius Antares right now is not a great buy, but I do think in the long term it will be one of the better ships for like cops out there, like people who want to disable ships and bounty hunt. And you don't have the cargo container or the prisoner containers or like a brig or anything like that. So it's really like meant to work with other ships, like have another ship come out and actually grab the people out, because this is going to do way more damage, as far as like it's going to disable ships faster than the average ship. So I think it's really good, but it's supposed to work in tandem with another ship that is going to take the prisoners back, unless you're kind of doing no holds barred. And it also, I think, works well with like boarding ships, because this can disable the ship, and then if you have a Legionnaire with you, Legionnaire can come and just board the ship. So I think this is a really well done ship, but it's meant to work with other ships, not by itself. Unless you just have a thing about disabling ships, then griefers are going to have a field day with it. The Vanguard Harbinger, I think it's too expensive, but I will say this about the Vanguard series. I do think they're going to get a rework, and I think when they get that rework, their value is going to become very evident, because I do think these are going to be some of the best fighters in the game when it's all said and done, and I think that's because of the price. 290, 240, 275, and 260. I think this is going to be the one you get if you like guns. This is going to be the one if you the one to get if you like lasers and speed. I think this is going to be the fastest one of the three, and I think it's going to be the laser variant, the long-term fighter. It's going to be, like I said, fight better, smarter. It's going to be a longer fight with this one, but it's also going to be a more dynamic fight. You're going to be able to, this is going to have like the E-War stuff going on with it. The hoplite is if you plan on boarding, if you're going to attempt to board as well. But I think this is like disable and board. At the same time, I don't think this one works well by itself. I think this should be something that you take with another ship. I think, again, this one pairs well with the Legionnaire, as in this one will do most of the fighting. The Legionnaire will kind of be like the fly that annoys and keeps the turrets distracted. And then eventually you'll be able to board with both of them. And then the Harbinger, which I think is the best of the bunch, is your guns and your bombs, your torpedoes. So I think this is the one that will be the this one and the Sentinel, I think, are going to be the two standouts. The Warden will be a little bit more basic. The Harbinger, I think, is going to be one of the better fighters in the game once it gets its rework. Right now, it's decent, not great, but that's what I would say out of those four. The Vulture, if you're a single player in the game and you have a larger ship to put this in, this is going to be amazing. Especially, folks, if you have just bought an Ironclad or an Ironclad Assault, this thing, specifically the Ironclad Assault, actually, I would say, if you pair this with an Ironclad Assault, not only can it be repaired, it can be rearmed, it can be refueled, all from dropping it into an assault and then doing that stuff. And then you could like unload your RMC, go back out until that thing is filled up. Like, I would rather than having a Reclaimer, I'd rather have a Vulture with an Ironclad Assault inside of it. And I know it can only break up to a certain amount, but I just feel like I'd rather have people helping me, take the cargo out of this one, and doing multiple missions with it, rather than hopping in the big Reclaimer. But at the same time, the Reclaimer can take larger targets. Like, this one can strip anything. So I think, what is that? Is that a hammerhead? I think that's a hammerhead that is stripping in the picture. But so you can strip anything with this. And I think like the munching part, obviously you need the Reclaimer for the bigger ships, but yeah, I think that combo would be really cool. Like, I think that Vulture Ironclad Assault combo would be really cool. But it doesn't make the Reclaimer useless. It just means, like, I think that combo is a little bit cooler to me. It's going to be more fun, I guess. Especially if you can end up fitting two Vultures inside the Ironclad or something. I think that would be really cool. But again, I'm just Ironclad fanboying right now because it's a new ship. It's the new hotness. I'm a prisoner of the moment. I will admit it. But even if you don't have all those ships, the Vulture is a great standalone ship. And I actually think this is, when I suggest, ships that you should buy for under, if you're gonna spend around that $180 mark that I'm talking about, which is the most I would say anybody starting this game should spend, I would say start with the Vulture. The Vulture is going to immediately make you money. It's going to be fun gameplay, and then you can earn pretty much any other ship you want. Like, if you're interested in combat, you start with the Vulture, and let's say you're earning your combat. I'd say, about 20 missions in, you'll be able to afford most decent fighter ships, and then you can pick and choose and earn the rest in game. So that's it. That's the 15 ships. Now let's talk about these CCUs. So I think these are pretty decent. The Eclipse one, actually, let's just go into them. Let's see. So as always, we start with the Aurora MR. Let's see. This one saves you $55. Wow. Wow. A $55. Wait, no, that's not right. That's not right. Is it? 245, 30. No, it's not. That's 75. That's $25 CCU. See, I always do this because I forget that you're supposed to take the $30 and add it to whatever this price down here is, because you would have already paid $30. So there we go. That makes a lot more sense. $55 was crazy. But as you can see, it's about $25 that you're saving. I really don't have to do that. All I really have to do is look at the difference between these two, and you can see that it's $25. It's 5.20. It's $25. So I don't know why I do all the math. Sometimes my brain just doesn't brain. That's all. So there we have it, a $25 CCU, which is decent. Not great, but not bad. It's about average. That's what I would expect from a CCU, about $25. And then we could just go down the line here instead of going all the way back. Oh, I forgot the Retaliator is still here. So I already kind of did those. I want to do the two new ones. The Santok Yai is still here. The Eclipse was the one I just did. The M2. M2, it looks like $35. Yeah, $35. So if you're buying a ship that's more expensive than the M2, so if you're going for an Ironclad Assault right now, for instance, you can save, what was that, 35 plus 25, which is $60. You can save $60 on an Ironclad Assault right now, which would put it at about $465. No, $475. No, I had it right. No, $470. $470 would be 30. Yeah, no, $475. I had it right. $475. You can get an Ironclad Assault for $475. Yes, I know, math. But $475 is pretty decent for an Ironclad Assault. I think you could have got a better deal if you bought it at the Invictus sale. But if you're trying to get a Merchantman, this is a great time to get one, because you get what? Another $50 off the Merchantman. So $50 off the Merchantman drops it to $600. And then the other, what did I just say? $60 that you save. So what's that? $110 off the Merchantman. You're getting the Merchantman for $540. That's not bad. I think the Merchantman is, at its current price, it's still a steal, because I think it's going to end up being around, I think the end price for it is going to be somewhere between $725, well, $700 and $750. So it could even go up to $1,000, depending on what they end up doing with it. So there it is. I think that's pretty much it for the let's say the XenoThreat sale. Yeah, let's call it the XenoThreat sale. Which I think, if you didn't understand this already, I'm pretty sure Star Citizen is going to do a ship sale every month now. They're preparing, I think, for launch, and I think because they're preparing for launch, they need to like shore up the money pack, because the marketing campaign for this is going to be insane. So I think you just be prepared. You know, this is the great time to like upgrade your ships and get the ships that you've always wanted. I only have a few where I could use CCUs at, where I didn't really save that much money, but for the most part all my ships are bought. I was able to actually melt my I melted my Ironclad Assault upgrade, because it was Ironclad to Ironclad Assault, and I just saved $35 just using this CCU just now. So it happens. Yeah, just make sure you're paying attention when these sales come up, and that's why I make these videos, so you could just be like, oh, a ship sale, let's go. Because I think this was kind of like a stealth ship sale. Like, you wouldn't know that this like, you wouldn't know ahead of time that this was going to happen. So yeah, this is why I make videos, right? All right, that's it for this one. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.